Hey Bruce, want to learn a tactic to make your business stand out even if you sell the same thing as everyone else?
Yeah.
And you don't have to change anything about your business. You just have to come up with this one sentence. Do you want to learn what it is?
Yes.
Now, this is one of the things that Daddy had to master to become a millionaire. So I want you to pay close attention to the following story, okay?
Okay.
There once was a man, and his name was Forrest. Forrest had a candy company in the 1930s, and he sold to the U.S. military during World War II. Over here, we got a bunch of soldier guys, okay? And these soldier guys, you know, they got their guns. Here's the problem. When they went to war, they didn't have food for like 10 hours, 12 hours, sometimes a couple of days. So there was no food. So that means that they didn't have a lot of energy. Forrest, what he did was in the little sack that they carried with them, he sold them these little chocolate energy pellets so that they could eat the chocolate and get some energy. The problem is that chocolate melts. And so if they were to put these little pellets in their sacks, they would melt everywhere and it would not be fun. Okay, it would not be good. So what he did was very interesting. He took another form of candy and he made this hard shell around it like this so that it wouldn't melt unless you ate it. This was amazing for the military because the soldiers could now have their candy, get their energy, and it wouldn't melt. The problem was when the war ended, there was no more customers. So Forrest had to turn to the general public, people like me and you, and sell them candy. So this is the general public. Well, here's the problem. There's so many different types of candy out there. What makes them so special? There's so much candy. So he had to figure out a way to make his candy stand out, his business stand out so that a lot of people would buy his candy. He hired a man named Reeves. Now, Reeves is what we call a copywriter, and he's a very good copywriter. Now, Reeves' job is to make sure that a business describes what they do so amazing. They use such amazing words that people buy their stuff. Reeves interviews Forrest for hours, and he asks him everything about their business. And eventually he's like, listen, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know what sets you apart. And he pressed Forrest until Forrest blurted it out in frustration. And he says, well, here's the thing. They melt in your mouth, not in your hand. And that was the one sentence that Reeves needed to create one of the most successful marketing campaigns of all time. And once they came up with that one sentence, which by the way, is called a unique selling proposition, within 4 years, Forrest's company was selling 1 million pounds of candy per week. That's 4 million pounds a month. That's crazy. That's a lot of candy, isn't it?
That is.
Okay, do you know what the name of...
That's like Candy World.
Yes, Candy World. Now, do you know what the name of Forrest's company was? What do you think it was?
M&M's company.
M&M's, that's right. That is how M&M's was born. And M&M's is honestly probably the greatest example of a unique selling proposition. Now, how can you do that? How can you do that? So it's very simple. You need 3 things. You need a sentence that, number 1, it's beneficial. There is a benefit to it, okay? So the benefit is that it doesn't melt when you have it, because if you have candy and it melts, well, it's very tough to eat and it's annoying, okay? So the benefit is that it does not melt until you eat it. The second thing is the benefit must be unique, which means it's something that your competitors, the other people that sell candy, either don't want to do or they don't do the same. It's got to be special, all right? Or it's at least got to sound special. Third thing, there must be an emotional attachment to the benefit. Now, what that means is that whatever the benefit is, it has to have an emotional side effect to the person who's buying the product. If I have candy and it melts, what happens? It melts in my hand. It melts in my hand, all over my hand. There's chocolate everywhere. How would you feel?
Not good.
You'd feel angry, right? You'd feel frustrated. The benefit is connected to an emotion. Oh, the candy melted in my hand. Now I can't eat the candy. So it's a benefit that people are willing to pay for that has an emotional response if that benefit is not achieved, and it's unique. If you can come up with a way to get all three of these in one sentence, that is a unique selling proposition. And that is what will set you apart. That one phrase. Hey, real quick, hope you're enjoying the video and hope this has really helped you understand what a unique selling proposition is. But if you want a more step-by-step advanced training on how to grow a business, I'll leave a link to one of my best trainings in the description where you can check that out. Okay, now back to the video. What did you learn from today's lesson?
So there was this war, and the soldiers were hungry, and sugar gives you a lot of energy. The guy wanted to make them chocolates, but he knew that the chocolate will melt. So he made a shell around it to not make it melt. And the important part is, it doesn't melt in your hand, it melts in your mouth.
That's right, and that's what's special about his candy, about his business. And the phrase, it melts in your mouth, not in your hand, is called a unique selling proposition. And if the people watching at home can come up with that same phrase for their business, they will immediately stand out and it'll make it a lot easier to grow. Now, at this point, do you think the people watching should subscribe to Daddy's YouTube channel?
Yeah!
All right, then you go ahead and do that, and we'll see you in the next one.